the more you can care and learn about somebody personally to help them just live a better life and accomplish their personal goals and be happy, the more they're going to be bought into you as a leader, the agency, enjoy coming to work because they know that they're working with somebody that actually cares about them. Hey, welcome to the Insurance Buzz. We are your hosts, Michael and Courtney Weaver, and today we are breaking down how to hold a one-on-one, when they should be held, how consistently they should be held, what they're going to consist of, how to make sure that you are setting people up for success in the one-on-one meetings, including yourself.
So let's break down first, before we get into this, what a one-on-one even is.
Well, a one-on-one is a meeting with either you, so the leader in the agency, could be an agency owner talking to a manager or leader, or it's the leader manager talking to the licensed sales team or the service team. And so it's going to be 30 minutes long, and it's going to consist of talking about both personal and professional.
So where do you think, when we're talking about the one-on-one, where do you think agents, business owners are getting it wrong?
Not consistent.
Okay.
So not consistent, may not even be doing one-on-ones at all. And they're not doing them as frequently as I truly believe they need to be held. So I believe that one-on-ones need to be held every single week, every other week at a minimum. I'm a big fan of every week. And having it at the consistent time on the same day every single week, because this is going to form a habit. And when you have habits get done, whether they're good or bad habits. This is a good habit. This is a disciplined habit, but it needs to be the same day, same time, every single week.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've actually tested this a few different ways in our different businesses. And the thing that I found as we got farther away, especially around that 2-week mark, if I hadn't had a check-in with everyone on the team, I felt, for me as the leader, that I almost wanted to step in and start micromanaging because I didn't know everything that was going on and I didn't know where to provide support.
Yep.
Whereas the one-on-one gave me clarity of, okay, this is where they keep getting hung up. Or the other thing that I think is critical in a one-on-one is being able to spot patterns. So when somebody comes into you, because the first part of the one-on-one is really about building rapport. So we're going to break down what that one-on-one is. But the first part of the one-on-one is really, how are things going personally? What's going on? And a lot of that, you will uncover your pattern. If somebody's consistently showing up late, this gives us the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation and go, hey, what's going on? And you might find out there is this whole thing that's happening that's causing them to show up late, that you can easily step in, assist with, or have a better understanding to maybe you need to make some schedule changes or whatever during this season of their life.
Yep, I agree. I want to address one thing right now, though, because I have a feeling that you right now listening to this might be like, Michael, weekly one-on-ones, that is going to be repetitive. It's going to be repetitive. Or the every other week. Oh, that's way too much. Like, I'm in my office every single day, talking to my team every single day. The problem is yes, you're talking, but usually it's very high level conversations. Usually it's around business. Usually it's around goals. Usually it's around coaching. Usually it's around productivity. Very rarely, and even if you are sitting at somebody's desk, one of your teammates, for 5 or 10 minutes, you're only going to be so open and vulnerable in an office open setting around what's going on personally. And so while I understand you may be thinking that right now, I would encourage you to just come at this open-minded and see, hey, what can I gain from this?
Okay. I'm going to offer a different perspective because I'm even shifting in my chair. I'm like, I need to.
Things are getting serious right now.
We are getting serious because I love that you bring that up. And the immediate thought that I had was, I want you to think about this like dating a partner. I want you to think about this like dating, because so much of a relationship is the passing conversations, the scheduling, what you got going on, where do we need to be, all of these things. Very rarely are we dating, right? The more we date, the more communication we have, the better understanding, the full picture we have of what's going on in that other person's life. Now, I'm not saying date your employees, but I am saying you have to spend intentional time with them, just like any other relationship that you are trying to foster and grow.
For sure.
In order to have deeper connection. And when I talk about connection, it's that understanding of how can we support each other, if you build the people build the business, that mindset. So I want you to think of it like this. Like, think of it like a relationship. The best relationships have very intentional time that they have set aside.
Yep.
Every single week, usually a date night a week is what's recommended from most psychologists and therapists, is every single week we're going to have intentional time. I want you to look at it like that. You're telling them to come open-minded, and I'm saying, no, listen.
Listen, Linda. Get this on the calendar, get it done.
Consistent times, too.
Consistency, yes. That is the key here. Because then you know what's expected, and they know what's expected. So they know every Thursday at 10 a.m., I'm having a one-on-one. Like, that's consistency. That's clarity. That is knowing exactly what to expect every single week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's great for our people, too, because they know they can build their own calendar. They don't have to anticipate, is it going to be this day? Is it going to be this day? What's it going to look like? Okay, so we were talking about what a one-on-one looks like. At the beginning of it, the front of it is a lot of, how you doing? How's the kids? How's the family? What's going on?
Yeah, I know our rule is always the first half of the one-on-one is going to be rapport building. So very, very personal, like kids, school, what's going on in life, like depends on the relationship you have with this individual as well, like how deep those conversations go. But I'm of the mindset and very open to, I'm willing to go as deep as my team is the individual I'm meeting with is willing to go from a deep conversation standpoint on the personal side, because the more you can care and learn about somebody personally to help them just live a better life and accomplish their personal goals and be happy, the more they're going to be bought into you as a leader, the agency, enjoy coming to work because they know that they're working with somebody that actually cares about them. They're just not caring about profit before people. They're just not caring about, hey, you come in, you produce, you do your job, you go home. Like that's just not the world. I don't know if we've ever lived in that world, but definitely not the world we live in today.
Yeah, I think vulnerability is really how we strengthen those connections, and we're going to spend so much time with these people. Let's actually have conversations that matter, conversations about what's going on it. And I'm with you. I'm of the mindset of I'm willing to be as vulnerable as the other person is on their end about what they're going through. We actually had this conversation when we were having coffee this morning about, I saw this clip of Simon Sinek, and he was talking about how trust is built on your ability to ask for help. The more that you are willing to ask for help as a leader, as a producer, the more trust you're building with the person who is available to help you. And I think that that's so huge because we've looked at, in the leadership role, very much as a strength position. And this is a mutual collaboration. It's not like I hold all the cards. It's I'm expecting some performance out of you, but I need to know how I can support you in that. It's more of a collaboration.
And sometimes people, all of us, just need someone to talk to just listen. To just listen. So sometimes it may seem like you're a sounding board or a therapist. You don't have to have the answers. You just have to ask the questions and just listen, because as they verbally process sometimes and go through their emotions, they're going to fix the problem themselves. Like it's not your job to give advice or fix problems. It's just your job to ask the questions and be the safe container for them to just talk about just not work.
Yeah. And if you've never had these kinds of conversations, the natural instinct of the person is to go back to work. They're going to want to go back to, this is what's going on with production. This is where I need help. And as much as you can get them to stay in tell me what's going on personally, because again, I'm going to go back to the patterns. You're going to notice patterns in their personal behavior that's affecting how they're showing up at work. So you can be able to, again, to your point, maybe listen or maybe offer some resources.
Man, that's because when you think of who we're working with and hiring, and I love Gen Zs because they are so in touch with their emotions, but they need people to communicate those emotions too. And so when you think about leading future generations, this is going to enable you to be a better leader, establish a culture based off of relationships and how do we help support each other. And so I just, the first half, but anyways, first half of the one-on-one
we could talk
is going
about
to be,
this
yes,
so
very much rapport, personal relatability, like what's going on. The second half of the conversation, so you figure about 15 minutes of it is going to be around, hey, how can I help support you accomplish your professional goals? So every single week, if you're meeting weekly, for example, if I know that this producer is responsible for this amount of production, and last week maybe they were low on activities or maybe they were low on quotes or whatever their expectations were, this is where I'm going to bring up and be like, hey, so we're 1 week into the month. This is what I'm seeing. How can I support you to make sure that you accomplish all of your goals this week? Or what do you think got in the way last week of you accomplishing this so I can help you structure your day or be of support to you? Also, on the flip side, this is what I see you doing really well. So it's just not, hey, here's the things you're doing wrong. How can we help you? It's also, hey, here's what I see you doing really well at. Like making, hey, I heard you yesterday ask for that Google review like 4 or 5 times. Great job. Like I loved how you asked for that. So it's also not what can you do well or better at. It's, hey, this is what you're doing really great at.
Yeah. And there's our 2 favorite ways are the critique sandwich, good, improvement, good, or 80-20. 80%, and this is just giving feedback in general, is what you did really well. 20% is an area of improvement. So that's just feedback, how we like to give it in those 2 ways. The other thing that I love is from a leadership standpoint, it doesn't allow anything to get too far ahead of you. Because there's a lot of times where we will keep kicking the can and not actually solve the problem. We keep kicking the can of, they're showing up late. They're not making.
This problem's going to go away.
This
It's going to go away. This
gonna
is just a thing. This is just a thing.
It doesn't fix itself. Somebody has to pick it up and look at it and go, oh, there's an issue here. This gives us that opportunity to have clarity around what is happening in our business and what we need to be focusing on. Also, if you're with a producer, we run into this a lot in our businesses on what are they focused on? Because so many times my priority and my team's priority might not be in alignment. And I'm going, why are we not getting the results that we want? And they're thinking we're headed east and we're actually headed south. So it's a lot of reaffirming where's our focus, where's our clarity, what are we doing well, this is again what we're focused on hitting, this is where we're headed. I mean, we are the drivers of the ship here, so we have to make sure that we're all going in the direction we want to be going.
And helping them simplify, because as a leader, you're helping them simplify success. So here's what I see, making sure you just hit a really great one. They could be doing the exact opposite activities or be focused on something completely different. And so one-on-ones are just another really great way to make sure everybody's on the same page, being consistent with it, having clarity in job duties, expectations, building that personal relationship. But man, that is so important that you are, number one, 80-20 feedback, but also, hey, are you doing like, I see you falling behind. Like, what are you focused on every day? Like, tell me what your daily routine looks like. What would, if you could average out your day, you come into the office, you leave the office, what happens in between that? Because that's going to tell you information you may already think you know, but there's no way you know every hour of every day with every person on your team. And so if you see, if you're starting to see someone fall behind, this is a really great conversation just to be like, hey, walk me through what your average day looks like. What are you focused on?
Because they could spend 4 hours on something that you have already learned that lesson as a leader, right? You already have that expertise, that they're spending 4 hours on something that you come in and you say, hey, that button actually automatically does that, and boom, you've just given them 4 hours of their time back. But they didn't know. I think an easy thing to do, to your point, and I love that you bring that up about like what does their day look like, is to do a time study for everyone. And this includes you as the leader, where you break down 15 minutes from the time that you get up to the time that you go to bed. You could do it just for work, or you could do a full day, but it's every 15 minutes break down what exactly is taking up my time, my energy, my attention. Where's my focus going? Because that's going to show you a ton. And there can be something, and I know this is not what this episode is about, but there could be something that you're looking at that is an obvious pain point that you can say, okay, I need to hire to that. I need to outsource that. I need a piece of tech that can come in and do that. Like, again, we want to make sure that we're spotting patterns and we're getting ahead of things. Like if we see somebody that is constantly a headache, and we talk about accountability a lot. It's a big buzzword. Everyone's talking about accountability. This is accountability. Processes and systems will not save you if you don't have a clear system of accountability. This is what we're talking about.
Preach.
You have to communicate with people. Because if I tell you, I could have a beautiful SOP that has a whole video training that walks you through step by step. This is exactly how you change a vehicle, right? But the person consistently is not following that. If you do not have a one-on-one to say, hey, I'm noticing this, what is the process and system for anyways?
That's right.
If there's no system of accountability.
There's no accountability, there are no processes.
Yes. Oh, can you say that again?
If there is no accountability, there are no processes because the processes aren't being followed.
It's so good.
You crushed it. You're spot on with that. And I want to add something just real fast, going back to the one-on-one. The one-on-ones, the very first week of the month should be a recap of last month's production. So that is an accountability production meeting. Again, first half, build rapport. But second half is, here's what happened last month. Here's our direction this month. How can we be of support? Right? And so I wanted to help add that because I think what you just said with the time optimizer, that would be a really good practice to implement the first week of every quarter. To where, hey, we track what we're doing, what our day looks like for like 2 days, and then we're going to talk about that in the next meeting.
Oh, I love that.
So just every quarter, because things change and people fall into habits, both good and bad. And so tracking a time optimizer at the beginning of every quarter for just 2 days, and then that's what your first one-on-one is about, is talking about, hey, what does your day look like? I think that'd be a really great practice and process.
We have to look at this like we are, the machines of our business. All of us, every single person is a machine in this business. We're a car. And if we don't take time to stop and fuel up and pay attention to, do I check the tires? How's my oil? So many times we're running and we're running and we're running and we're not paying attention to all of these. I'm going to call them yellow flags because if they're red flags, they take you out. Yep. But we're not paying attention to these yellow flags. And so what we're telling you to do is to set up this system of accountability with the review, the one-on-one, where you can start going, oh, this is going to be a problem if I don't address this. Yep. I'm going to just go ahead and tackle this right now. And this is really where, when we talk about accountability, you would set up your 30, 60, and 90-day reviews.
That's a podcast for a different day.
That is how to actually hold somebody accountable when they're not following the system.
That's
but
right.
This is how you do a one-on-one, and this is the importance of a one-on-one.
Yep. So one-on-ones, first half, relationship, personal. Second half is around activities, production, support them in the professional environment. How can you make sure that they're going to crush their goals every single week and month? That's how you structure a one-on-one. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. Personal first half, professional second half. Look at activities, look at production. How can you be of support? Here's some things I see you really struggling with. Here's how you can overcome that. Coach to it, and then you get right back to the day.
So if you're somebody who doesn't currently do a one-on-one, my suggestion would be go ahead and get a one-on-one scheduled with everyone on the team. And a real quick thing is, hey, I want to make sure that I am pouring into you and giving you the training and support that you need to feel successful in your position. This is going to be something that we're doing moving forward. Offer feedback. I don't have all of the answers. We're going to learn together. But this is what we're going to be doing moving forward so I can support you. It's a real simple conversation to set that up, but go ahead and get that on the calendar right now. That's the action step that you can take right now. You're going to learn how to do a one-on-one by doing one-on-ones. You're going to learn your style, your rhythm, your cadence. Again, you broke down exactly what it consists of. But if you don't get it scheduled and you don't start doing it, this is just another good idea. And we're not people who are about good ideas. We're about taking action. So let's take some action today.
Yeah, man, there are people that talk about doing things. There are people that do things, baby. And to add on to what you just said, I want to just share something that I learned in holding one-on-ones is I used to try and have them one day a week, and they wore me out. They exhausted me because when you're doing like
stacked them all in
4 or 5 one-on-ones that are all 30 minutes, oh my gosh, I'd be exhausted. So what I actually went to, so this this may be helpful to you, maybe not. But what I went to is a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, to where I met with this person this time on Monday, this person this time on Tuesday, this person this time on Wednesday, this person this time on Thursday. If your team's big enough, maybe it's 2 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2. So then it's like, okay, I can still be a leader of people, and I can still do the things that light me up as well in my position. And maybe you're one that's just like 8 hours on a Monday. I'm crushing the one on. Good for you. I think that's awesome if that's how you roll. But just know there is no right or wrong way of doing this. So if you're listening to this right now, I wanted to just give you that example as well. That idea is, hey, you may like all one-on-ones on one day, or you may like spreading them out throughout the week.
Doesn't matter as long as it gets done.
That's right.
That's all you got to make sure, that it gets done every single week. Must get done, shoulds don't.
This is a non-negotiable. So you just learned how to have a one-on-one. Let us know how it goes. As always, we appreciate the absolute heck out of you. Time and attention are by far our most important assets. We appreciate you. We appreciate your support, regardless if it's on the podcast, regardless if it's YouTube. We appreciate you. We love you. Go out, make it great.